Welcome to What? You Haven't Seen That? With your host, Joe Chincharik. And in today's film, we are going to be talking about Sing Street with my guest, Brian Hurst. Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Oh, okay. Can I talk now?
You could talk, all right?
Okay.
Fucking relax.
You threatened me pretty severely before we went on mic. I was worried I couldn't come in.
Yeah, well, keep the tweets to the minimum.
All right, yeah. Sorry.
No. So, Brian, first off, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm really glad to be here. It's nice to just have some fun and chat about movies. Let the world burn for a minute without me watching.
No phones. All right. So, we're doing Sing Street today. I would say that was the main popular movie of 2016. It's a much more recent movie, but I mean that was the one
popular
I think.
Popular indie kind of.
Yeah.
Cults.
That was the one I think where people were who saw it were urging everyone to see it. And now since it's been on Netflix and it's very accessible, it's a newer What You Haven't Seen That, but I accepted it.
Well, the thing is that Joe isn't telling you, good listeners, is that I'm old. So I've seen a lot of old movies, so you have to pick something for the young people, and then that's my blind spot. That's where I don't get in.
But you see movies, so I won't...
That's true. But this movie had a couple things working against it, for me seeing it from the get-go. First of all, not one of my particularly chosen genres. I'm more of I'm big into sci-fi and fantasy and action movies and horror movies. But coming of age, I came of age. I'm done with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm of the mind that you can literally watch The Breakfast Club is the only coming of age movie you actually need. It covers all the bases.
All right. Well, this isn't. Yeah, but it's a good coming of age movie. I mean,
no, yeah, but also, like I said, things working against it was also the hype machine. Now you know me. I'm not a hater.
No, you're
I'm
not.
A hipster. I do get burned out on hype pretty quickly. So the more people tell me they have to see something, especially when it's something that's already not in my wheelhouse, and not something I'm dying to run out and see, and every person I know is just on me to go see it. It's if had I not done the show, I probably would have never watched this movie out of spite.
No, that's fair. I get it. In badgering the hype. But this movie, I remember the hype, and then we watched it, and I felt the hype was deserved. But it's my favorite of John Carney's movies. They're all pretty similar, though.
I don't know if I've ever seen any of the other ones.
Okay, so he directed once, which was extreme indie darling. They're all about music, and then his big American movie was Begin Again, and that had Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley. That was another musical movie, but it was more of almost an American remake kind of Once, but in a similar vein. But this is his, I think, most polished movie, and definitely his most feel good. But it's a feel good. I guess it's a feel good overall. There's definitely some hard tonal shifts. I think there was a little bit of there were some things that I thought were almost a little. They kind of took me out of the tone the movie I thought was trying to set up, and I was like, damn, was this trying to be School Ties at the same time? I don't know if you can have it both ways. He did play it a lot both ways. He made the movie and then really put a dramatic hand in it, but then you were laughing a lot. But let's just get into it. So what stood out of this movie to you the most? I mean, what was did any point draw you in to it, or were you never not engaged? Because I mean, the music, especially once they start playing the music, they were such good songs.
No, I'm not. I don't know about you. I'm not a musician. And
no,
honestly,
neither am I.
I'm not I like music, but I like the music I like, and I don't go out of my way to find new music either.
Okay.
So that makes me kind of you know what I mean? It makes me a little complacent.
I'm similar with that.
Too.
I'm similar like that.
But I did like. I'll tell you what I really did enjoy was the fact that they did original songs for this.
Oh,
Instead of like covering. It would have been easy to do covers and do like 80s pop hits and really make it like, I don't know, like a modern blockbuster and fill it full of songs from the 80s, like, you know what I mean? And like that would have been a good way, an easy way to get kind of like,
and it wasn't
a little bit of nostalgia bite on it. But I think that would have also made it more forgettable, and so I think they made a smart choice there.
Oh,
you know, and knowing that the guy made his other movies about music, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, he would have more of an idea about that. But it definitely felt like a movie that could have easily, like, you could have taken all that original song out and had him just doing the covers like he almost starts to do, and you know, and had that be the movie, and it would have probably maybe even had a little bit more mainstream success, although short-lived. It wouldn't have been like something that hung on.
Well, The Riddle of the Model and Drive It Like You Stole It are just straight bops. I mean, they're fun songs. I've listened to the soundtrack quite a few times since, and that's because of the original songs. I mean, even the songs they choose from the 80s are not as mainstream as, like, you know, they're not just playing Devo's Whip It and Thriller or something like that.
I was trying to think of it too when I was watching. I was like, okay, divorce yourself from the fact that this is new music and you probably won't ever listen to it again. Talking about me, but like try to think if this was a song that you had grown up hearing on the radio, like if this was a song from the 80s and you grew up hearing it on the radio, would you love it as much as something like Whip It? And I thought that these songs had that. You know what I mean? If I was looking to get into new music, I could see myself getting there with this. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
So I tried to like kind of like put it through that lens of like objectively knowing that I'm, as an adult, I'm probably not going to get into it, but had I like, you know, come up with, because I do enjoy music, like that's my wheelhouse is 70s and 80s and 90s music. You know, basically around the year I graduated high school, I just stopped listening to new music. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this one radio station tuned in, and I'm squared away, guys.
Well, yeah, I if I hear it, I like it, but I'm not so much of a new seeker of music. Like I have a lot of also 70s and 80s and.
Well, I also have this mentality of like,
collection.
If the song is really as good as people say it is, in 10 or 15 years, it'll be a legit classic, and it'll make it to the station that I'm listening to.
Well, this is what I think is going to happen with this movie, and it follows a lot of fun beats, you know, and this kid just oozes this confidence, which seems like he shouldn't have that confidence, but he does, and he's fine. I actually really like every...
No, I like that about it, too.
I like every...
They kind of diverted from what I thought was going to be... You know, he's getting into... With his friends, he's bold and he's an artist, but when he's at school, he's oppressed. And they kind of veered away from that pretty quickly. I mean, that element is there.
The kids...
And maybe that's what makes the tone shifts jump out so much, is because they're short. You know what I mean? Like the stuff with the bully and the stuff with the, you know, him getting his head stuck in the sink. Which, was that guy, did that guy want to have sex with him?
Which, the bully?
Did the priest, did the priest want to have sex with Cosby?
You know what? On the recent rewatch, that's the first time it ran across me. Okay, I don't think so.
Makeup, right? He's got the makeup on, and he's telling him to take the makeup off, and he comes up and he gives him the pat on the face. He's like, "You're a handsome enough boy without it. Go wash it off." Use my bathroom, and then he walks into the bathroom ahead of him.
Yeah, and then he runs.
Where Cosmo's like, I'm just gonna go, and then we have that big rage out. So like, was that a come on and then rejection, and then that's where the anger came from, or
I think
am I seeing something that's not there?
You know what? I see how it was there because I had a slight thought, but I think probably what they intended is just more like I don't think we're getting the pedophilia of that. Right. I don't think it's there. I think we're projecting it on.
I'm bringing my personal experience to this.
I think if this was in America, maybe it would be a little more heavy-fisted. But I get it. I mean, there is a context to that there.
Well, and I mean, yeah, like I said, it could just be the whole, you know, he's doing his best to kind of like, hey, come on, we're chums, and come on, use my bathroom, and wash it off, and you're a good-looking kid, you don't need to go get into this weird stuff. But I don't know, just for a second, I was kind of like, and like, I think it was...
They never go back to it. That's why I...
Right, they never go back to that element of it, I agree. But I think it was the way he reacted, the way the kid was kind of like, I'm just gonna leave. Like his kind of uncomfortableness with the situation is what kind of I think drew me to that idea.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, now we're actually changing the episode to the movie Doubt. What were your thoughts on Doubt? No, I'm kidding.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's gross fingernails in that movie.
The fingernails were a metaphor. No, but yeah, but back to the lead and the kids. Before we even get into Ravena, who I thought she was great too. She actually had the saddest story of them all because they did go with the ending with her with the molestation of her dad. And then she's in the girls' home.
Mentions that kind of offhandedly, right?
Yeah, but I think at the time the tones played very.
Throwaway line.
It's there, so I don't have a problem talking about it.
You're supposed to think, she has the whole thing where you think she runs off, and that doesn't pan out. And I can't remember exactly. Did she say the guy tried to sleep? She didn't sleep with him, and he hit her, and then that's why she didn't go. Or
I think
is that how it played out?
Yeah, that stuff's implied, I think. I don't know if it wasn't, she didn't sleep with him, but he definitely hit her, obviously.
Because she says that, he was using the whole idea of moving him to London to kind of, turns out none of that was real.
Oh, okay.
All trying to get her in bed, right?
Yes, okay, so that's probably where that goes. I always thought it was just he was never going to move to London, and she started getting, lack of better words, mouthy, and he hit her.
Yeah.
And then she left. But those are just dark underlyings in it. But at the surface, if you're pitching the movie, it's so much fun. Look at the music. The kids, though, the rest of the band are made up some characters. And I think actually that's why this movie works so well, is because it kind of has a similar thing with I was
definitely getting excited when they were introducing the kids in the band.
It has a very similar thing of how everyone got excited with Stranger Things because the kids were kids and they were a little ratty.
I love that kid's half Jamaican, half Irish accent. I wish they would.
Oh, so good! That was one of the actually.
So good,
and I was happy
they got so few lines.
And with him too, I was happy how actually they went there with the kids treating him and how that's probably would have been like in.
Oh, definitely.
And it wasn't. Yeah, and it was made for comedic, but it was never hurtful or anything like that. It was just there and it was funny. The twin. I thought that I call them twins basically, but those two kids, those brothers, and the cowboy outfit, looking like the village people.
The littler one, he definitely was trying to steal the movie in the background. But I was gonna say, I think all those kids. I know it's Cosmo's story and it's all about him and the girl. But I do think they kind of got a little short shift. None of except for Irish Corey Feldman, the kid with the rabbits, he had a little bit more.
They recorded at his house.
Yeah. And he was he's going to grow up to be a hoarder, right? He's got all those rabbits.
Yeah. That's a good observation. Yeah, but the movie itself is fun. The one part that takes me out of it, even though it's a good scene, is the one dream sequence when they're playing and he's dreaming of a prom.
Yeah.
It's because none of their other things had that. And it's interesting.
Exactly. They build that with the whole thing of him talking about how he sees it. He's always talking about how I can see it. It's I have it always written. And I did notice he was doing storyboards, which I thought was pretty impressive for a kid.
Yeah.
I was this is your first music video and you're already writing out storyboards? That's okay.
And they look like them.
That's unrealistic, or you really have a knack.
Well, this movie, as you can't see it, but I'm air quoting, as realistic as it comes off the surface, it's not, because he's supposed to be when we really start getting into the movie, he's supposed to be a poor kid.
Yeah.
And then he has money for every single outfit in the 80s to look like every single tone. And it works because it's just showing the shifts of the different music styles and they're not aware of it and they're making good music. But poor kid don't have money to go buy all that clothes and whatever.
Yeah, I
and
was
be
looking at some of those jackets. I was like, I guess maybe you could think like maybe that was like some of their parents' shit from the '70s. They're reappropriating. I don't know.
I don't, but that was like one, but you don't like, I'm not thinking about that when I'm watching a movie. And if you are, like, you're an asshole. Like, if
Well,
you're,
right. Well, it's one of those things like if you're not engaged enough with the movie and that's what you're thinking about, well, then this movie's just not for you.
no, no. But yeah, I've seen this a couple times since I saw it last year. To me, this is one of the ones I'll go back to when thinking about like last year. Is this could have had this should have had nominations. The Weinsteins could have made a push.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing too. That they didn't really push this like the.
No, they
There was no real like what do you call it, promotional campaign for this.
No, I think the Screen Junkies tried getting even screenings because they were so in love with it, almost to an annoying.
I think they had they did an episode where they had the cast on.
They had the kid on, and he just like Skyped in, and he was just like he's just in a band. I think most of them. I think he said in that episode that a couple of them tour together now.
Oh, nice.
But in prep for this, I'm jumping all around here, but in prep for this episode. All right. I read an article of an interview from the director, and it's actually kind of weird. Like, it sounds like he's like happy with the movie, but at the same time, it's most of it like the ending is also supposed to be a dream sequence, although it doesn't come off like that.
I thought 100%. I was like, oh, those kids are gonna die.
Well,
like, oh, that's it.
He wrote it originally, I think, as them dying, he says, but then he changed to be happy, which I'm glad. Like, this is a movie where I get like, I don't know, do you have any siblings? Are you a brother or any younger brother?
I don't. I am an only child.
Okay.
Selfish. Singled out.
So so I have an older brother.
I was hoping. I mean, as long as this segues into us talking about the older brother character, I'm fine with wherever we're about to go.
You mean the scene stealer?
Like, you mean if Chris Pratt and Seth Rogen had a baby, an Irish baby?
Well, Jack Rayner, that's who he is. He was the douchey boyfriend in the Mark Wahlberg Transformers, the first one.
The first Mark? Okay, the one with Mark Wahlberg. So he's the guy. He's the driver guy.
He's the guy who has that like pedophile card.
He's got the pedophile card? Okay,
yeah.
All right. I only saw that movie once because I love myself.
I think I saw half of it and left or fell asleep, but I know about it. And
yeah, that's fair.
That's him, though.
This is a much better credit to have than pedophile card guy.
That's him, though. And he's the scene stealer. You know, we we're just talking about like maybe a nomination, and I was talking more about the movie itself and music. Like, this has better songs than La La Land.
You know, I do my bunker style notes. I got my little John Doe notebook here, and I'm scratching things out. And like every couple of lines, I'm writing something about the brother. I have all sorts of things in here about like he's like a proto hipster, but he also feels like he's grunge, and he's doing that like that early 20s philosopher thing where he like knows everything but does nothing, you know what I mean? And then definitely when he came in during the dream sequence, he had the short hair. I was like, oh my god, he really looks like Chris Pratt.
He's so good though in this, and his actual. I think
one point I was even like, before we get the real blow up with the parents, I was like, is he a ghost? He could be a ghost.
You know what, Brian? I didn't think about that, but he definitely
Jacob's Ladder type like.
Is this a Jacob's Ladder scenario?
Are we in the Jacob's Ladder scenario here?
He definitely.
No, I did. I literally had a moment where I was like, have we seen him interact with anybody else? Is this just the kid going and hanging out in his dead brother's room and like looking at records and like having this like this advice is actually coming from him? But then he gets more interactive with other people by the end of the movie, so that went out. But for a moment I was enjoying that.
I wanna see that movie now though, because now I'm gonna think of that every time. The brother was dead the whole time. No, but
I thought he's always wearing those weird fingerless gloves. You know, maybe he killed himself or something, and the ghost would be hiding scars or heroin. I was thinking track marks. You talk about smoking hash. The guy acts like he's a damn heroin addict. He just go smoke hash when you get off work. What's wrong with you? Get a fucking job already.
I don't know. Yeah, he's a loser, but he was a saving grace in the movie. I do think that was a point, because that ending. It gets me every time.
Well, yeah, that callback, that wake callback.
Yeah, I get it.
It's
like
really solid. I wrote down that's a very solid callback.
Yeah,
there.
It's because
right under that, I did write they 100% die.
On the surface, before you get to that ending and in the wake, and if you're paying attention during the movie, you get the callback. Before that last title shot comes up of For Brothers Everywhere, you're like, in the surface, it's a romance movie. You're like, oh, sweet, nice little coming of age romance. And you're like, oh no, it was about brothers and other brothers inspiring mainly younger brothers to do more. And like, for me, that resonates so much because as a little brother, you do live in your older brother's wake. Mine is not a loser. No.
Yeah, I have a very good friend who's like an older brother who set a unrealistically high example for his other brothers that they have never been able to live up to. So I understand.
I will say this. The dad who's Peter Baelish. From Game of Thrones. I can't not see him. I don't think anyone as Littlefinger. And like every time
I can't because I don't watch Game of Thrones.
All right, well, if you watch it, I'm just like he's scheming. He's one of those guys in Thrones that's just the complete worst.
It's always got scams and flams going. I'm sure. Well, it seemed like the mom had the scams and flams going in this movie.
Oh, she was banging out someone.
Hey, people, they grow apart, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It deals with the divorce, I think, nicely. It wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a couple too many of those plots too. Like, I think the stuff with the parents is a little. I get like it's building the world of the kid, but I think once you've got the girl and the brother and the bully, I don't think you need the thing with the parents too.
You could have done without that. I think that's what though really forces Cosmo to go into like being like, all right, I'm gonna go to London and leave.
Well, I think that's what pushes him to leave.
And,
you know what I mean? But as far as like,
well, they even throw the
storylines for the movie, I think it made it a little crowded.
Well, there's
what I mean? I get it that's the thing that they needed to have in there so that he has a reason that he doesn't to actually go. Because he's going to live at rich stepdad's house or whatever.
Yeah, the now we're talking about it and you're talking about crowding, I'm thinking more and more. There's a lot of things there though that they throw in and be like, yeah, his life isn't great or whatever. It's like the stuff with his grandpa he throws in with the bow, and it's like, well, once he died, basically implying, well, once he died, everything kind of went to shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all implied. I'm putting that in there, but it's there. Speaking of the crowding,
there for sure.
But so what? So anything else like really stand out to you in this, or not, or piss you off?
For the most part, I think I'm leaning to a positive. Like I said, I don't think this is a movie that I'll revisit. Like, I get why people liked it. I don't know if I necessarily understand why so many grown adults liked it. I could see a lot of teenagers really getting into it. Hey, that's not for me to judge. People watch.
I loved it. I think, to me, because one of my questions is like, does this have a rewatchability? This is a movie that has a ton of rewatchability for me. If I was a little,
especially if you really like the music, I think it's got rewatchability. If I were the music element of it,
if I were a little younger, this probably would have been in a category for me. Because when I was younger, you'd watch like the same 5 movies or so, falling asleep. Like I call them sleep movies. You just put on and fall asleep to. But they're good.
You're talking about Wayne's World, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
All right, yeah, mine.
D2 the Mighty Ducks.
Mine was D2's. All right, mine was like Mean Girls and School of Rock and Ferris Bueller. They're probably ones I had in a lot of rotation for that. But this would probably be one of them. And I just mentioned School of Rock, but I think this movie is a little more popular and a little. If it was the American version of it or a lighter-ized, it would be this generation's kids, probably from the ages like 12 to like 16, School of Rock. So I know I
don't think there's a lot of really. I mean, I think a lot of the coming of age movies right now are geared towards being more sappy.
Well, look at Edge of 17,
A Fault in Our Stars, and stuff like that. And,
Edge of 17,
Dying Girl, and I feel like this had more of a maybe. obviously because it was set in the 80s, but it had that kind of like pop sensibility. Even though it had those hard turns in it, I think overall it just felt like more fun than what I'm seeing a lot of.
It's a lot.
Kids today only have two things to choose from. They have those like sad cancer movies or like dystopian YA futures where
they need
kids become soldiers. That's like the two types of movies they make for teens. So
and they need this.
I agree that this definitely needs to exist, just if nothing else, for that, variety.
Of course, because the School of Rock comparison I'm getting at is more of like me when I was probably 12, 13. I wanted to play guitar because of School of Rock. I could see a kid seeing this movie and wanting to play an instrument.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but that's a really great point, though, Brian, about the coming of age movie. There's only like 2 lanes that could go down right now, and that sucks.
Yeah, agreed.
And you know what?
This definitely deserves to exist, at least for that reason.
Hot take time. Get your. I know Spider-Man Homecoming is a coming-of-age movie, but, I'm not putting that in the category. Get that out of here. Not everything needs to be a superhero movie.
No, that doesn't count.
Do you know what I mean? But, I could see someone interjecting with that.
Ant-Man is a heist movie. No, it's a fucking superhero movie with a couple of heists in it. It's not a fucking heist movie.
So, I just had to throw that in there. Because you could totally see someone going, well, what about Spider-Man Homecoming? They had that.
Yeah,
that's the internet.
It's your internet voice, exactly. I read so many tweets in that voice.
What? You like?
Actually.
But no. So I got your answer of you liked. I am assuming from what you gave me, you liked it, but you probably wouldn't rewatch it. Would you give it
because it's not really in my wheelhouse.
Would
it's
you
not
give
really
it
my genre that I revisit a lot?
Would
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If somebody asked me, I would definitely tell them that it's a good movie.
Would you give it if it's on USA on a Sunday?
I never watch movies on TV.
All right. Well, you know what I'm getting at. Me neither.
Never do that.
You got to go down to the bunker and grab something.
Oh, I wouldn't buy this. It wouldn't be in the bunker.
Oh, see, what's... The bunker has some question marks, and you wouldn't buy this. I ordered. Yeah. I liked this so much.
About personal preference, my man.
I liked this so much, though. I ordered it while watching the rental on demand, on the Blu-ray as I was watching. So to just give you I did really enjoy this film.
I'm glad. And like I said, I can see why. I see why people got into it. I said, as much as I am a hype denier, no, I understand.
This hype was a lot more well-deserved than I think something like La La Land. Just talking about last year. It was a lot more satisfied and impressed with it. La La Land just seemed like an exercise in masturbation. And I didn't hate it. But that sounds like it. I didn't see
that either.
You wouldn't. It's.
I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, that's maybe if people are still talking about La La Land in 10 years, I'd be sure. But that's
they're going to be talking about it, but they're going to be hey, remember how Hollywood just loves to give itself hand jobs? Any movie that's set in LA that's about the film industry at least gets a nomination.
Of course. Who's telling me anyone? You know what you really should put on tonight? The Artist. We've all forgotten about it by now. Same category.
Oh my god, people love it.
All right, but anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. So, final thoughts, or got anything else?
No final thoughts, except aren't they 15 and 16? How old are they?
Yeah, I believe
she's 16.
I believe she's 16.
How the hell are they gonna live in London?
I think
15 and 16 years old.
I think that's
I got my sketches and I got my mixtape. You are gonna die of starvation. You're gonna get raped and murdered.
I think that's why the director kind of said it's comes across as more of a fantasy end. And you don't,
I agree. Because I was there's no way these kids can hack it.
I think
I like the sentiment.
Yes, it's sentiment. I'm fine with it.
I was thinking about that, and I was watching them, and I was oh, they're gonna die. And then they hit me with the wait callback, and I was you know what? That's all right. I like that. You can end your movie like that. I'm okay with that.
I don't need a Sing Street 2.
God, no.
You know, 10 years later, where she has two kids.
No, he full on Sid and Nancy's out.
Oh, yeah.
Murder each other.
Oh, wait, the sequel should just be the Sid and Nancy movie. Anyway, Brian, this has been great. I love talking Sing Street with you and movies in general. Where could the good people find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Twitter at HurstKillies.
Yeah, I'm usually
I have
yelling at him or something, so just look at my Twitter, and I'm sure it's one of the 20 replies.
That's right.
And you could also, sorry I cut you there.
Oh, no, go ahead, interrupt all you like. It's fine. I'm on YouTube. I am a founder of the Tough channel over there on YouTube, the people that bring us fan friction. I have my own little show, The DVD Bunker, where I go through my DVD collection and kind of reassess things that I haven't seen in a while, or sometimes try to shine a little light on something I enjoy that other people aren't talking about.
It's a really good show. I'm not just saying that because he's on. It's a good show. You guys talk about, you and usually the Drunksman talk about some really good.
Yes, my co-host Matt. Yes.
Yeah, Matt. You guys talk about. It's good conversation. Pick some obscure movies. So I definitely recommend it. And you could find me on Twitter at Chendango1 and this podcast because you're listening to it now. So.
Look on this wherever you found this. Look around for more. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, have a good one, Brian.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Of course.